Hello guys, Ingemar here. Today we have a look at the infotainment system of the Grenadier and all the switches on the center console and the overhead panel. Let's check it out. Here in the center control we have another way of actually moving around on the touch screen. So if you're wearing gloves you can use the little wheel here. It's, well, I would say also BMW style with the shortcut buttons around it. Of course we know those two levers, don't have to explain those. Park assist off and on here on the right hand side. Start stop function of the car, you can switch it off here. And the audio control, the volume control is here in the center, and if you push the center button it goes into mute. What I like about the position of this switch is that you can easily find it if you without looking, because you just have your hand on your gear lever and just in front of it you have the mute button. So I use it quite often if I approach something where I want to turn down the music. I don't have to look, I just know where it is. So I think that's well thought of. Further up, the window demist, front and rear of course, the hazard lights in the center nicely guarded, and the climate control switches on the AC and the recirculation. Further up we have the control for the seat heating with 3 different settings, 1 to 3 on the far left and far right. And of course fan speed, the temperature control is the outer ring here again, and switching the climate control to auto with a push of the button in the center. And last but not least, here is the control for the different zones from feet to window demist and so on. So we're here having a look at the overhead panel, and I'll just talk you through the whole one. Starting down here, if the reading lights, which you can switch on of course, the interior lights on or off, and automatic, whenever the door is open the lights will illuminate. That stays like this even if you turn off the engine and restart. That is going to stay in the last selected position, which is nice, you don't have to reselect it every time. Then we're controlling the exterior lights up here, of course leveling the headlights, plus the auxiliary lights. Those are the 2 inner headlights in the car. If you switch it on, the light will illuminate, and whenever you use the high beam then those inner lights will come on as well. There we go. Then we have of course the off-road controls. We talked about those already. The downhill assist, the ESC off, front and rear differential locks, the off-road mode and the waiting mode. In the center we have the emergency call switch, so you can just flip it open, push the button, and it will call emergency services for you, or whenever the system detects an accident it will do it automatically. And what I like as well, a nice little feature, is that you have the dimensions up here as a little reminder if you might forget them. And further up, that's the high load auxiliary electrical panel. In the left lower corner it's the second battery. You can flip it on, switch it on anytime, and it will power the 2 USB outlets in the passenger seat area, the USB-A and the USB-C there. Then the 12-volt outlet in the center storage box, and the 12-volt outlet in the cargo area is powered with the battery on, and whatever you want to connect. Then we have exterior 1, 2, 3 and 4. Those are the 4 pre-wired plugs on the roof. Have a look at them later on. The rating for each switch is on there as well. Then interior 1, interior 2, that's 2 additional outlets, one in the aft of the car, one in the front in the hood. And we have of course exterior 5, that's the integrated winch, 500 amps rating here. That's the overhead panel. On the exterior we have those 4 pre-wired connections up on the roof. You see one is just above the rear door up here and the other one further to the back, and you just lift the cover, and there is a plug underneath it. There we go. And of course the same on the other side of the car. That's controlled by exterior 1 to 4. And here in the back, Doris again having a little nap here in the car. He loves it. We have the 12-volt power outlet just next to the little storage area for the hydraulic bottle jack. Of course, here in the passenger area you have the 2 USB outlets. I talked about those before, USB A and C. And part of the electric system is of course the area underneath the rear seats. We have a couple of circuit breakers here, and there is the main battery underneath this panel, the smart pass in the center, and of course the second battery. And just today I saw that the first companies are already using that little space for a solar panel integration. So the management system for that, also from CTEC, would just fit here in that spot. So the aftermarket is already working on solutions for that. And well, there's one more little area where you can probably use the space as well. Otherwise, there's not too much empty spots left here underneath the rear seat. Now we're going to have a look at the infotainment system of the car. So after the startup, it normally comes up at the last selected screen. Well, we know that we have the speedometer here, the RPMs, the position of the gear box, the odometer, remaining range. Sorry, that was the traffic alert. That happens. And of course the fuel level and the temperature of the engine. With the button here on your control beam or control arm for the lights, there's a little switch on the top of it, and you can toggle through that little box down here, and you can actually configure that as well. So it's the driven time, the current economy, of course, the average speed of the current trip, average economy, the AdBlue remaining distance, and the driven distance on the trip, plus the remaining range is the item I have configured for this little box here for myself. Then yeah, you have the different menus. As I said, you can toggle through it with either the control wheel in the center storage or use the touchscreen function. On the home button you have the audio function up here, the different stations you can just scroll through here, or with the control on the wheel, and favorites down here when your phone is selected. I want to start with the settings to give an overview. So that is of course divided into different files. So the general is language units, where you can configure it from PSI to bars, centigrade to Fahrenheit, kilometers to miles, liters to gallons. So yeah, you can configure it to your liking, time of date, and also you can change the rotation of the CCI of the wheel in the center, so clockwise or counterclockwise, how you control the screen. Then of course how your contacts are ordered, and the CCI favorite, that's the favorite button down on the next to the little wheel. You can configure all kind of stuff in there. Whatever you want to have with one push of a button, you can select it. I selected the off-road temperature screen. We have a look at it right away. I just like the information I got there, because it's also the tire pressure, which I can see there. Of course, you can reset the general setting and reset everything on this page. The next one would be the display settings, display brightness. You can select it in %, and then you can configure the info area. So info 1, that was down here, where I just toggled through. Info 3 is the outside temperature, so you can select here different items from audio source, bearing, date, travel time, odometer, to your liking. And info 4 is just a little box next to it. Talking about the brightness of the display, that might be something they should still work on at Ineos, because it should be easier to access. So if you have to go into 3 sub-menus to control the brightness of your display, that's not very ergonomic, not very handy if you come from a tunnel to the bright light again and so on. Sometimes it's quite delayed. It's the same for the headlights, the automatic switching of the headlights. It takes quite a while until the headlights really come on if you go into a dark area. So that should be, yeah, a little bit fine-tuned, let's put it that way. And as far as I know, Ineos is aware of it, and they might update with the next software update. Not sure about that, but they are aware of those issues. Then the next one is the vehicle functions. Again, instrument illumination as a general, you can select it in percentage as well. Then we have the central locking system, unlock the driver door only, all doors, and so on. Park distance control in the front, if you want to select it on or off. You have all kind of vehicle information, so the engine oil level and AdBlue level. Here we go, 50%. Top up quantity is 8 liters. Always a nice overview there. And tire pressure, battery status, service interval, and so on. Fuel level, and active warnings and status messages down there as well. And well, the next is a speed warning. I don't have one set, but of course you can set it to whatever level you want to use it. And the next one is the acoustic settings. You have the equalizer function, of course, a preset equalizer, or you can customize it. Then of course, fader balance, the volume settings, so the preset at the vehicle start, volume minimization, speed dependent volume control also, and so on. Notification volume, so that's pretty standard, I guess, for every car. The PDC sound and the input sound, warning sounds, how loud those would be. Good. That's about the acoustics. Communication, I have the possibility to select, of course, the Bluetooth, the hotspot, and so on. Plus I have a device list of the different phones we use. So the next one is the Pathfinder file transfer. So the vehicle is equipped with a Pathfinder, and then you can select where you want to transfer your files, where you want to get them, or where you want to export them. It has a hard disk drive where there is already a file on there, and of course you can use the USB-A or USB-C connection of the car to transfer files as well. Good. Then we have a device list. Of course, that's just the list of all the phones. I think that's quite self-explanatory. Then again, an audio menu, which gives you control over the different sources, of course. We're currently in FM. You can scan for stations, delete current stations, traffic announcement on and off, and so on. And of course, whenever you have a menu up here, you sometimes have those 3 little bars. That means there's a sub menu, so you can play music from the USB source as well, of course from your phone via Bluetooth, and yeah, toggle through the different sources here as well. If you go to the menu, the source AM, FM, or DAB. Good. Then of course you have the phone function. So I paired now the phone with Apple CarPlay. It does it automatically during startup, and it's really nice. You can use, of course, Google Maps for your navigation. Then of course access back to the car and use all kind of maps you're going to want to use. I have Maps.me here, which is available for Apple CarPlay as well, so you can use whatever navigation system you want to use for your off-road navigation. So everything is always updated, and of course you can, well, use your phone, of course, have your messages, WhatsApp there, and play music from the car as well. Let's see if the quality there should be better than Well, I think it's quite okay. It's not the same like in my old car where I had the Harman Kardon system, but it's definitely satisfying. I like it. Good. Now to the interesting part, to the really interesting part. We're coming to the off-road section. There you have 5 different pages. The attitude, we've seen that one. It gives you information about your attitude, the pitch, the roll, the G-force, the current altitude, plus the wheel angle. So very nice function here. Then the next one would be the temperature. That's my favorite because I have the engine temperature, the gearbox, the transfer case, plus the tire pressure and the tire temperature. And yeah, you actually can also just swipe it up as well. You don't have to push the bar there. That's the pathfinder. You can follow a path which is already in the system, which has been stored before, so you can just follow it back, or you can just record a path. When you push it, it will start using GNSS, or in the settings you can switch it over to use the wheel spin actually for navigation, but I assume that GNSS is quite more accurate. So whenever you record a path, it will just drop a waypoint along your route, and then you can follow it back with your road book, which is the next function. So that's now the coordinates of my current position, and it will count the waypoints in the presets. You can select the distance between the waypoints as well. I think it starts at 50 meters and goes up. You can have a look at it. Here we go, automatic storage distance. Yeah, here you go. It's from 50 meters going to 10 kilometers. However, depends on how accurate you want to have it. Good. That's the recording page, of course, of the Pathfinder. The next page is the statistics page. It gives you current position, altitude, the travel time, the travel distance of your current or last trip, the average speed plus the average fuel consumption. My last trip was along the freeway, along the motorway, so 12.9 was quite okay with an average speed of 82. On the freeway, of course, I went up to 130 in average. Good. And the next one is the electrical page, which shows you the status of the battery temperature, the voltage, state of charge, and if it's currently charging or discharging as well. Good. That's about the infotainment system. Here I added a little clip regarding the Viper operation. I hope you found the video informative. If you have any questions, leave them in the comments. Thank you.